So the Prophet ﷺ said, count 10 things that will happen before the Day of Judgment. Count 10 major signs that will happen before the Day of Judgment. Meaning, until you see these 10 signs, you don't have to worry about the actual Day of Judgment. And he listed 10. Now pause here. These 10 signs are called the Ashrat al-Sa'at al-Kubra, the major signs of the Day of Judgment. And our Prophet ﷺ said, when one of them happens, the rest will follow immediately, like dominoes, one after the other. وَاحِدًا تِلْوَ الْآخَرِ. When one happens, the other 9 will simply just come about. And these are the 10 major signs. And we seek Allah's refuge from seeing any of them. This is the very end of times. Before these 10 are many what are called Ashrat al-Sa'at al-Sughra, minor signs of the Day of Judgment. And these minor signs, scholars have written many books about them, and some have made them up to 100, some have said 150, but there are many ahadith that mention of the signs of the Day of Judgment is this, is that, is this, is that. If you look at the minor signs, pretty much all of them have occurred, one after the other. If you look at the minor signs of the Day of Judgment, the Prophet ﷺ predicted things that were absolutely surreal for his time and place. Unbelievable. He is telling the Arabs, the Muslims of Mecca, when they're being persecuted, he is telling them, you are impatient and hasty, for verily a time will come when a lady shepherd will go from Hadramaut to Sana'a, and Hadramaut and Sana'a are in Yemen, and the Prophet is not even powerful in Mecca right now. He does not even have aman in Mecca. And he says, a time will come when a lady shepherd, a female shepherdess, will go from Hadramaut to Sana'a, and the only thing she is scared of is Allah, and then the wolf attacking her sheep. You're being impatient here. We will have ultimate security. He told the Muslims, when they're being defeated by the Quraysh and others, he said, سَتَفْتَحُونَ رُوم. You are going to conquer Bilad al-Sham. You're going to conquer Bilad al-Sham. You're going to conquer Damascus. You're going to conquer Jerusalem. And indeed, Jerusalem was conquered in the Khilafah of Abu Bakr. The final day of the death of Abu Bakr, that was when Jerusalem was conquered. The Prophet ﷺ sent his only army to other nations. The only army that was sent to fight other nations was to Bayt al-Maqdis. And it was a successful one in the Khilafah of Abu Bakr. The Prophet ﷺ told us that we will distribute the treasures of Caesar and the treasures of Kisra. And Kisra is the leader of the Persian Empire. And Suraqa ibn Malik could not believe his ears when the Prophet ﷺ said, you are going to wear the bangles of Kisra. You will wear them on your hand, the bangles of Kisra. And Suraqa said, the bangles of Kisra, the emperor of Persia. And he said, yes, the bangles of Kisra, the emperor of Persia. And during the Khilafah of Umar ibn al-Khattab, when Persia was conquered, when Ctesiphon, the capital of the Persian Empire, was conquered, and the treasures came, and Umar ibn al-Khattab saw in front of him the gold piling to the ceilings. He himself went to that gold and plucked out the bangles of Kisra, and he said, where is Suraqa ibn Malik? And he called Suraqa ibn Malik, and with his own hands he put it on the hands of Suraqa ibn Malik, and he said, this is what the Prophet ﷺ predicted. Our Prophet ﷺ predicted that you are going to conquer Egypt at a time when the Muslims didn't even have a caravan to go to Egypt. He said, you are going to conquer Masr, and so be good to the people of Masr, because you have sila, you have rahim with them, going back to Hajar alayhi salam, 50 generations, 40 generations ago, you have some blood relation. Be good to the people of Egypt. He predicted the conquering of Egypt. All of these hadith are found before the conquest occurred. These hadith have been recorded. You cannot deny these hadith. And so many other predictions. Knowledge will spread. He also predicted fahisha. Fahisha, the lewdness, nudity will become prevalent. And this is the reality of our times. He predicted so many things. And wallahi, you go down the list and you keep on saying check, 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 one after the other. Of his most famous predictions, a hadith we memorized as children. And we thought, when is this going to happen? And we see it happening in front of our own eyes, in our own generation and decade. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَرَأَيْتَ, and you will see رِعَاءَ الشَّاء, the shepherds, the poor people, يَتَطَاوَلُونَ فِي الْبُنْيَانِ, competing with one another to see who can build the tallest buildings. And wallahi, with our own two eyes, in our generation, in this decade, 50% of the 10 tallest buildings are in the Middle East. And every time one prince or one ruler builds one, another one says, La, I believe in the hadith more than you, I'm going to make it even... Well, he doesn't actually say that, but it's as if he believes in the hadith more, and I'm going to make sure it happens. And so when one prince says he's going to build the tallest hotel hotel, the king says, I'm going to build taller right in Mecca. And then the other prince says, I'm going to go taller. And then his cousin or his nephew says, in Jeddah I will build the 1 mile, this is literal, I'm not picking this up, 1 mile high building, the tallest in the world. Then the prince of Dubai, and the back and forth and back and forth. Literally we see it in front of our eyes. And we scratch our heads wondering, we see the Ashrat al-Sa'ah one after the other. Nonetheless, all of these are the minor signs. The Prophet ﷺ said there are 10 major signs. I wanted to actually talk about the major signs. Went to the tangent of the minor. The Prophet ﷺ said, count 10 things. Number 1, the coming down of a Dajjal. The exposure of a Dajjal, the coming down of Isa. The coming of Dajjal and the descent of Isa. Number 2 is the descent of Isa. So the first of the 10 major signs is the coming of Dajjal. And that is a whole topic we don't have time to get into. And Dajjal will cause fitna and fasad like the world has never seen. And no one will be able to harm him, because Allah has decreed only one person can kill him. And that person is not on earth right now. He will come down after Dajjal has been here for 40 years, as the Prophet ﷺ said. And he explained how long is that 40 years. Then Isa ibn Maryam will come. And Isa will kill him at Bab Lud, which is the city of Lod, L-O-D. There's a city of Lod right now still. There's a city of Lod. And it is in Ard al-Falastin. And that is where the Dajjal will be killed by Isa ibn Maryam. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Isa will then gather all of his followers, and Allah will tell him that there is now coming a group, your followers have no power to fight them, so flee to the mountains, they are Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So, we know then that the third of the 10 signs is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And Ya'juj and Ma'juj will come out, وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. And the Prophet ﷺ described so many things about them. He said that their faces are صِغَارَ الْأَعْيُنِ, they have small eyes. And it is as if their faces are like a shield that has been hammered. Like a shield that has been hammered. So the descriptions that he gave have led many of the earlier Muslims to think that they are a race of the people of the Far East, and Allah knows best. And he said that their clothing is made out of wool or fur. And this is something also a hallmark of the people of the Far East. And he said that their quantity will be so much that they will pass by the river in Tabariya, which is one of the famous, the lakes of that land, which is in Mawara al-Nahr, Transoxania, far away in the Far East. They will pass by. When the first of them pass by, they will begin drinking. By the time the last batch of theirs passes by, they will say, there used to be water in this lake. Meaning there's so much quantity, they will finish up the entire water. So the Prophet said this is the third of the 10 signs. Quickly the other 10 signs before we get back to Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So the first is Dajjal. The second is Jesus Christ. The third is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. The fourth, fifth and sixth are earthquakes in the east and the west and in Jazirat al-Arab. These are massive earthquakes. The whole world will feel them. One in the east and one in the west and one in the Arabian Peninsula. That leaves to 6. The seventh is a dukhan. Dukhan is a type of smoke that will happen. We don't know much about it other than there will be a smoke. The 8th is a dabba. The dabba is a beast. And it is mentioned in the Bible as well, the beast. And the sign of the beast is mentioned in the Bible. And the Qur'an mentions, فَإِذَا وَقَعَ الْقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ أَخْرَجْنَا لَهُمْ دَابَّةً مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ. That when the fate has been sealed, we will cause a beast to come out from the earth. This is the beast. This is number what now? Number 7. This is 8. The dabba is 8. The number 9 is طُلُوعِ الشَّمْسِ مِن مَغْرِبِهَا. The sun rising from the west. The sun rising from the west. And then the last of these 10 is a fire that will gather the people to Ard al-Mahshar, which is Syria or the Bilad al-Sham or Jerusalem, in that area. So these are the 10 major signs.